Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Obviously, very disappointing about the game Friday. I think, the most glaring thing that stands out about it is the turnovers, the three fumbles that we lost. And, we felt offensively we were able to move the football most of the night. And, obviously, if you turn the ball over, then you can't do that. And you're losing opportunities to go down and get points. And, I think the other thing that we haven't done a good job with so far this year is hitting on our deep shots. I think if you look back to last year, we were really good at big plays, and we have to be a big play offense because we have big play players. I mean, with the kind of speed that we have with some of the skill guys, we have to be able to utilize and hit those guys. And we're not able to connect on some of those plays. I mean, even the first drive, we come out in an empty set and we had our tight end, wide open, and we don't connect on it, which probably would have scored on the opening drive there. And, that's just an example of what's happening with it. And then, the turnovers. And I think, we got 11 turnovers and so far, and we only created 3. So, I mean, that's a negative, big time negative turnover margin. And you can't win football games that way. I think if you go back, again, last year with some of the wins that we had to take care of those. We took care of those balls, and the ones that we didn't win. So we got to do a much better job with that, and that'll obviously help in trying to get wins.
Scott, hey, it's Jody Dimling with Cardinal Authority. On the big plays, and I know the one, Ian, it looked like it kind of went off his fingertips, but the other ones, is it more of timing or is it Malik missing a little bit or guys in routes? Is it kind of the same thing all the time, or is it something different every time?
No, if we feel like it's something, it seems like there's something different. Now, Malik's overthrown a few of them, but it seems like there's been something different, whether it be, Malik not throwing the proper ball, or the receiver not running the proper route, or the O-line or tight ends not protecting. And so in the course of the season, it's been a little bit of everybody, I think, that attributed to some of those shots not being there. But I think Cunningham, Malik's got to be able to hit some of those balls. Like we had. Of course, Ian dropped on the first drive, and then I think maybe the third drive, or it could have been the fourth. It was in the second quarter going the other way. We got 2-2 on a post coming across, which we've hit many a times. Just overthrew that, and it's hard to overthrow 2-2. So, but it's it's just for whatever reason we've just not connected like we needed to down the field. Now we've hit some throughout the year, but we've got to hit them all. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of room for error. We're not good enough to not connect on those big plays. I think, I think our running game is solid. I think, Hawkins is, I don't even know where he's at, top 10 in the country in rushing per game. So, I mean, that should be good enough, running the football. But you gotta combine that with hitting those balls down the field. And, and we've got to be able to do that. And then we got to take care of the ball. I mean, those two things, if you do that, then you can go back and look at the Pitt and the Georgia Tech game, and that's a couple of touchdowns in each game. Is probably a different outcome in both of those games, and we're sitting here at 3-1. Even with how poorly we've played defensively. I mean, it's so we've got to be able to do those things. That's the way our makeup of our team is right now, and that's what we have to be able to do in order to win these games.
Scott, this is Ken with S11. You mentioned the other night after the game that when it came to poor tackling, that you guys haven't tackled well for 3 or 4 years now. What are you seeing with the tackling? And did you mean Louisville for 3 or 4 years, or even dating back to when you guys were at App State?
No, I mean Louisville. It's not been good tackling, and it's still not. And you have to be. I mean, you can teach tackling and you can work on it, and we do. We work on it all the time. But when you're playing the game of football, there's so many variables involved with it. It's angles. It's the point. Where am I hitting the guy? Am I trying to wrap up, or am I just trying to go in with the shoulder? Also, what kind of makeup am I as a player? Do I have a great ability to and athletic enough and more quick twitch and strength to go get guys down. I mean, all those things are involved with that, and we're not where we need to be, obviously, with in regards to that. So, there's a lot we got to get better at with that, with tackling. Going back and watching the film from the other night, there's a lot of times we're in place to make the play, and we don't pull the trigger, meaning, our feet are flat and we're not going toward the carrier. And you have to go pull your trigger. You got to go fly through the ball carriers and wrap up, and when you're hesitant and your feet are not moving, then a lot of times bad things are going to happen to you as a defense. And so that's kind of where we are. I mean, we got these guys, we got to pull triggers, and we got to go try to run through the carrier. If we miss, we miss, but we got to be more aggressive with it.
Scott, Rick Bozich at WDRB. It's a lot of the same guys on offense as were there last year, and they were very successful. Is it lack of concentration on the turnovers? Is it just the variance in one season to the next? And what can you do to clean it up?
Well, I think a lot of it is just the carrying the football in a position where it's going to be hard for the defense to get it out. And we work on it all the time, and these guys did a much better job last year, obviously, than this year. I think Hassan he's had maybe 3 or 4 fumbles in the course of the season already. And Hawk the other night gets stripped on one of his. If it's just putting the ball in a position where you're going to protect it, and that's the thing we got to do. I thought Georgia Tech did a good job of really stripping it and really trying to pull at the ball. There was a couple of times where in piles were actually coming down. Well, Hassan Hall had the one where he's on the ground, he's laying down, and he's actually on top of the person, and they pull it right out of him. I mean, it's just we tell our guys, you got to give the ball to the referee. It doesn't matter, at any point you think you're down or not. I mean, you got to get up and give the ball to the referee. So, it's just about concentration, hold on to the ball, knowing when you're in traffic, knowing when to have that offhand to protect it. All the little things that we work on all the time.
Scott, Russ Brown from Kentucky Today. What have you done or said to keep the players' spirits up, or motivation, or however you want to phrase that, after such a disappointing start?
Well, I mean, just talking to them about, we're still, young in the program with this coaching staff. It's an everyday process that we're going through, and it's really just talking about literally going through the process of, becoming a championship caliber team. But it's about habits. It's about commitment. It's about what you're doing on a daily basis. And not, you just can't show up, and any of us can't just show up all of a sudden when it's time to shine and think you're going to be really good. You're just not, it doesn't work that way. So, constantly reiterating the fact that we have to show up every day and how, be committed and to the process. I think that's the biggest thing. And we're still growing. We're still working on that. And really, and then you point out to the fact that, guys, we're, with 11 minutes to go in the game, we're winning with the ball at midfield in the other night. I'd have lost a lot of money if we said we're going to lose by 19 at that point. We're driving down the field to go get 2-score lead. And, we put the ball on the ground, and next thing you know, they score, and then they score again. It's just kind of unraveled from that point. And then you go back to the Pitt game. It's 23-20. Most of the fourth quarter. We had 3 opportunities, and we turned the ball over twice, and so the positives of that is we're in the game in the fourth quarter. We're right there. We got an opportunity to go win it. You think about last year, we won those games in the fourth quarter against Wake Forest, Boston College, Syracuse, so we finished those games out. And so, you certainly got to point out the positives and some things that we did do good. It's not all doom and gloom when the guys are in the building. We're not just constantly looking at all the negative things. It's, there's several negative things, but we're not just always looking at those. We're trying to build off of what we are doing good, and then trying to correct the mistakes that we have made. And, it can be very frustrating at times. There's no question about it for all of us, but we're working to get better, and that's what we have to do. I think when you have bad things happen to you, there's so many people, and we're in a world full of negativity anyway. And so it's real easy just to jump on the negative and talk about how bad somebody is or may be or doing the job they're doing or all those things, And so what we told them is, listen, you got to drown out any kind of noise, any kind of negative talk that's out there. And then we focus on what we can control today when we're here in the building? I mean, what can we do better? How many guys are on a day that is off day like today? How many guys are over here getting extra work in the weight room and watching film? I mean, so those are the kind of things that we talk about that we have to do in order to get better. And all those things they give you a chance. They don't guarantee you a win. They just give you a chance when you go into the game day. And then at that point, you have to make those plays.
Hey, Scott, Michael McCammon from Cardinal Authority. We saw Desmond Tell get quite a number of snaps in the game against Georgia Tech. As the frustration continues to build, guys not making tackles or not being on the right angles or whatever the case may be, is that maybe a sign that there could be a movement towards some of the younger guys creeping into the depth chart defensively?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think you obviously have to look at everybody, and we've told the young guys, it's not like I had him to wait for next year. I mean, you guys need to be preparing yourself to play right now. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, Boykin was in the game. You mentioned Tell. I think once some of these young guys will get opportunities, there's no question about it. And as a lot of this comes back to practice, how are they practicing? We don't want to just put them out there and they're going to look really bad. I mean, but I think these guys have ability, and we need to put them out. Let them get some plays under their belt, and they're going to make some mistakes while they're out there. Obviously, they don't have the kind of experience that you'd love to have, but once they get out there, they do have abilities to make plays. And so, yeah, you'll probably see more and more guys getting out there that are young that maybe haven't played as much.
Hey, Scott, last year you talked a lot about similar to what you did just now, kind of the margin, just slim margin for error. But last year, obviously, offensively, you kind of connected on these plays. You didn't turn the ball over. Now, obviously, it's flipped. Do you feel like that's just the biggest difference for this offense right now, is that maybe you're not as crisp as you were and hitting those plays last year?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference, Cameron. I think, the turnovers and the big plays. I think the two biggest differences on offense that I think we've had, again, last year we were able to connect on a lot of those plays. If you go back to Boston College, I mean, we had, 700 yards of offense, big plays in those games. Wake Forest, big plays in the game. Syracuse, we rushed the football against Syracuse, 400 yards, but we also threw, I think, 3 touchdown passes that were huge plays in the game. So, we got to be able to connect on those balls down the field, because those type plays, they give you 7 points. Like right now, I mean, there's 7 points, and then you can run the football and, collect the clock and keep our defense off the field. And, that's kind of been the formula for us winning last year. And so we got to be able to continue to do that. We put our defense in binds the other night with 3 turnovers, and give the ball right back to their offense. I mean, we're not good enough to do that. We have to take care of the football, and we have to get down the field. And then when we hit those big plays, we're going to score points. It's going to be a different ball game. We hit Ian on the first drive, for a touchdown there. And then we hit Tutu on the post route in the second quarter. I mean, those, now you're looking at, instead of a 21-14 at halftime, we may be up 3 scores at halftime. I mean, that's just, you're going to call the game different after that. So it's just, we have to be able to hit those plays. And, where we are right now, and that's how we will be able to win football games, is that scenario.
Tim Sullivan with the Courier-Journal. Scott, last year's Notre Dame game, you were competitive, and I think that surprised a lot of people. And even though it was a loss, it started the season on a different note. What do you see as being at stake now, and how can your season turn one way or the other Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, it's not about Notre Dame. I think it's about us in this building, and how well we can go out and prepare this week to play this game, and then go out and actually execute and play the game the way we were prepared. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Whatever the score ends up being in this game, whether we win or whether we lose or whatever the score is, to me, what's going to help make this season for us is that we coming out and we're playing the way we need to be playing, taking care of the football, pulling our trigger on defense. If we miss the tackles, but we're flying in there and we're, then that's what we got to do, staying aggressive. And I think that mindset and that execution will enable us to go out and play a lot better and win some football games this year. But we have to get fixed within our building, regardless of who we're playing. We are playing Notre Dame. They're obviously an outstanding football team, top 5 team every year, seems like, in the country. Big challenge. But to me, and for our guys and our staff and our team, it's more about us and how we can go execute and just play at a much better level.
Scott, Michael McCammon again from Cardinal Authority. when you have a game, like this last one where there's struggles on both sides of the ball, what's the conversations like when your coaches get together in the room to kind of go over things about, more tackling on defense, or as you mentioned, some of the things not hitting on offense? What are those interactions like between you coaches?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in this thing together. I think our staff understands that, and if there's an idea that somebody may have, bring it up to the table, and we're open for that, and our guys have always been that way. I think on game day in the heat of the battle, sometimes it can be real hectic on the sideline and in the box and that type of thing. But for the most part, our guys are pretty calm and cool throughout the game. But when we're in the building here, we're open to all ideas, and we're all on the same page. I mean, we're all in this thing together, and I think our guys do a great job with that. I think part of that makes a great program is when you have great chemistry on the staff and guys work well together. You throw your ego to the side, and we all know that we're all in this thing together as one. And I think that filters down through the players. And so our staff does an unbelievable job with that. And believe me, we're in here trying to do everything we can to find any way to help on each side of the ball and on special teams to find ways to where we can gain some advantage to whoever we're playing.
Coach, this is Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. Talk a little bit about this current Notre Dame team, what kind of stands out to you on film, and what do you think your best chance is? What do you have to do to come out with a victory on Saturday?
I think the number one thing that stands out about Notre Dame is their offensive line, arguably the best offensive line in the country. I think, with the guys that have played a lot of ball together up front. I think Coach Kelly has even said that it's his best offensive line since he's been at Notre Dame. These guys are good and, pass pro and run blocking. Ian Book, the quarterback, is obviously a very good player, especially when they're able to run the football. And I think what they've shown this year is that they've got some very good backs that they're able to run the ball because of the offensive line opening up those holes. When you're able to do that, Book's able to stand back when it is time to throw and take his time and find an open receiver. So they're very impressive there. I think defensively, they have a lot of seniors, a lot of experience on that side of the ball. Guys can really run to the football. They try to keep everything in front of them, and they do an excellent job with that. And they're also excellent on third down. I think they're, 15 or 16 or 17, 18% third down defense. I mean, so they're really good in that regard as well. Guys, this Notre Dame, they recruit the best players in the country year in and year out. They have depth. They have, it's just an outstanding program. I mean, we so there's really, as you look at them, there's not a ton of weaknesses on this football team.
Scott Cameron from Courier Journal again. Obviously, you made the switch to play Ryan Harwa, punter, last week on Friday. What do you think in the week leading up to that game or leaving the bye week stood out about Ryan that maybe he improved on or changed from fall camp?
Yeah, I think he just got a little bit more comfortable the last couple of weeks in punting the football. And I thought he did a good job, particularly in the first half. He had 2 punts that we down inside the 20, down near the goal line. So with what he was able to do, I thought he executed well. And, so he just earned the right to be able to go out there and play. And so, we'll see again this week. We'll let these guys battle out and see which one ends up coming out, punting for us. But I thought he did a pretty good job with that, in the first half of that game. And then finished the game up good. We gave up a little bit of a pressure in the second half, and that was one of his worst punts. But I think overall, I thought he did a good job.
All right, we'll take two more.
Yeah, Scott. Again,
Scott, this is Gary Graves from AP. With the record, how do you keep the guys to keep kind of the season in context, not to do too much, while also trying to get them to keep doing the things that you want them to do? Maybe not press too hard.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to what Tim asked the question about. Where are we at right now? And I think it's all about us. I think don't worry about the record. I mean, I don't. Last year, you don't worry about the record. This year, you just go play ball. But for us, it's how good we can get on a daily basis, how committed we are as a team to get better, and you just take it 1 week at a time. And at the end of the season, you look back, we'll see what happens with the record. I mean, we just got to focus on this week. How much better can we get? Our deficiencies, can we improve in those? And then hopefully by the end of the season, we've become a lot better football team, and we've started to play at a high level. I think so. You just got to take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time.
Scott, you talked about this Russ Brown. You talked about your players and how what you said to them. how do you keep yourself going? Have you ever had a 3-game losing streak as a head coach?
Oh yeah. Yeah. My first year as a head coach, we were 4-8. My second year, we started out 1-5. So I was 5-12 as a head coach. So yeah, we've been here before. It's not any fun, believe me. I think, but my second year, we started out 1-5, but we won our last 6 in a row. So we finished 7-5 that year. So, and the same thing, you take it 1 week at a time, find a way to make the plays in whatever game you're playing, and hopefully you come out and you're victorious. But it's nothing. It's never easy. When you put in the kind of work we put into, and you go out and you're not able to celebrate in the locker room. I mean, it's very frustrating. But again, you have to just look at it 1 week at a time and stay focused on the task at hand right now.
All right, Cameron, ask the last one. We'll wrap up.
Yes, Scott, obviously Marlon got ejected for targeting, and that kind of hurt your DB depth. Obviously with Kei'Trell Clark out, do you think he'll play against Notre Dame? And if not, how do you look at that depth-wise at cornerback?
Yeah, I think, Clark was a kind of a game time decision for us Friday night, and, we decided not to play him. He was close. So I think, yeah, he's back. He practiced on Sunday. He'll be back this week, which will be good, because you mentioned character will be out, I think the first half, right, of this game. So, it definitely hurts our depth there with him being out, because he's on a lot of our teams as well, special teams. And, but yeah, that was a big blow for us. But having Clark back, that'll help at the corner position, and then also in the special team aspect. So, look forward to getting him back.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap on that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.